everyone. Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And it's part 3 of the shirt collar. Our shirt collar who's looking for love in Laundry Town. And he just isn't getting any luck.
Yes, he has tried with a garter. He's tried with an iron. He's tried with some scissors.
Yep.
And then finally he went back to the comb.
The comb.
No luck.
Even the comb has a boyfriend, so the collar is single, lonely, and not feeling good. But we only have this final day. What do you think is going to happen? Will the collar find love?
Well, I mean, it should be a good story, don't you think? I think he has to find somebody.
I hope so.
I really hope so too, because he has, again, he didn't just strike out, meaning had no luck with these other people. They also were so mean to him. So I feel like this story has been just kind of, you know, pushing that collar down into the ground. He's got to have something happy happen to him, right?
But he's an old collar, and he keeps trying to meet, it seems, young, cool clothing, right? He's kind of like the old man who goes to the nightclub downtown, and all the 20-year-old girls are looking at the 60-year-old man like, I don't know, you're kind of old. So I'm thinking maybe he can update his style, right? He might find a nice polo shirt to attach himself to. Maybe get his ears pierced. In other words, those little buttons that sometimes you see on a collar, and you have the buttons here, and when the man wears the tie, you know, kind of update his style. Find a nice polo shirt to attach himself, a golf shirt, a Hawaiian shirt. You know, something cool and hip like the kids are wearing.
That these younger clothing might see right through and think, nope, that's still somebody I don't want. Maybe he'll find an older, like old hat or old scarf to marry.
Go where the older clothes are and meet someone more like, because really the kids today, they wear, you know, basketball shirts with no collars or t-shirts. We don't really wear collars much, do we? All right, well, let's find out what happens. We'll stop guessing. Let's start reading. We're going to find out right now.
After some time, the collar found himself in a box at the paper factory. He was among other rags. They all had things to tell, but the collar had the most. He was a terrible boaster. He told everyone he had loves by the dozen.
Okay, so let's go ahead and look at part 3. This is the shirt collar part 3, day 3. We are finally going to see what is going to happen to this collar. Will he find somebody to marry, or will something else totally different happen to him?
Absolutely.
We don't know.
He's still looking for true love, true romance. So where is he looking now? It says, after some time, the collar found himself in a box at the paper factory. This doesn't sound like a cool nightclub or a great party. This sounds like a bad place to be.
Yes, this also, I feel like there's probably more to this story in a longer version, because we've jumped from just being at home and being washed, and then after some time, now he's in a box in a paper factory.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We'll have to read on, but we do know that he is not somewhere you expect to find clothes, right? He's not at the laundry, he's not in the wash. He's at a factory. A factory is a large building filled with workers and machines, and it's a place we make things. You make cars in factories, we make bottles in factories, we make the drinks we put in the bottles in factories. Pretty much anything that isn't grown on a farm or made by someone at home with their hands is made in a factory. That's why we have so many things in the stores, and why things are really not too expensive, because things are made in huge numbers in factories all over the world, and that's the stuff we generally buy at the store. It comes from a factory somewhere.
Yes, and so now he is at a paper factory.
So they're making huge amounts of paper for books, newspapers. Why is a collar there?
Well, I'm not sure, but if we read on, we see he might not be the only rag or piece of
This
clothing
could be a
there.
really bad place for, okay.
Yeah, so we read on. It says, he was among other rags. They all had things to tell, but the collar had the most.
Oh, okay.
So he's in a box with other rags. He's among other rags. Among is a preposition. It can mean in with all these other things. So when maybe we want to say that this item is in a group with all of these, and we don't necessarily want to say he's in between or next to. We just say among. So they're all kind of mixed together. And so this collar is among a bunch of other rags, and they're all kind of chit-chatting and talking about their lives, and our collar says, oh, I have the most. I can talk about all kinds of stories. Everybody, look at me, listen to me. I have lots to say.
True.
But we're in a box and a paper factory.
That's right, among some rags. And remember, rags are dirty old pieces of cloth that you almost are ready to throw in the garbage. This is not a good place to be. But yes, he's there with the rags, and since he's a collar and they're all rags, he feels more special, so he is talking a lot and he is showing off. He was a terrible boaster. If you're a boaster, you're a show-off. I'm so great, I'm so special, I'm so wonderful, I'm so much better than you guys because blah, blah, blah. A lot of it might not really be true. He told everyone he had loves by the dozen. Yes, he's showing off and he's saying things that aren't really true.
Yes.
What a boaster.
Yes, and so we had that word boaster, which is a noun talking about a person who is boasting. Boasting is the verb. It is the same word as bragging. Brag and boast means to kind of talk about yourself and say that you're so good, you're great at everything, you're the best. So if you are a boaster, you are someone who likes to talk a lot about yourself. I would guess these other rags are probably like, we don't really care. We're all in a box at the paper factory anyway. But our caller is saying, I'm great. Lots of people love me. I've been married all kinds of times.
I have girlfriends all around the living room or wherever.
The closet.
That's right. He's saying basically he's a very cool, sexy guy and all the girls like to be with him. Of course, none of that's true. Let's find out what happens after the break. It's not going to be good.
Also, ladies wouldn't give him a moment's peace. Last, it was time for him to become white paper. That happened. The collar became this page, and his story is printed on it. So, don't boast like the collar, or you'll face the same end.
All right, so the collar is boasting to all of the other rags about how cool he is and how all the ladies love him.
Yes.
But it's not true.
No, but he's going to try to make them believe it's true.
Yeah, he's still going.
Yeah, and so he continues on with his boasting, with his bragging, and he says, also, ladies wouldn't give him a moment's peace. So he was saying, hey, I've got lovers everywhere and nobody will leave me alone. Just everybody wants to be with me all the time.
Exactly. Oh, look, it's J-Lo again. Oh, it's Beyonce trying to go out. I'm just too busy with so many dates.
Yes.
Oh,
and
boy.
So that's obviously not true,
No.
but he wants everybody to believe it is. And so we saw this word lady in this part. So lady is a noun and it refers to a woman. It is basically the opposite of gentleman. So we have gentleman and lady. I guess maybe I shouldn't say opposite, but it's the female version of gentleman. So somebody who has a lot of manners, who is well-spoken and polite, we would call that person a lady. So we have a lady and a gentleman. So he says, the ladies all love him.
Right.
Nowadays, we use lady kind of just to mean girl. You can kind of use it wherever. It still can be a little bit more polite way to address somebody. So if somebody was talking to and you said like, excuse me, lady, or excuse me, miss, you might be able to do that and have a little bit more of a polite sound to it than just saying, excuse me, girl. That might be a little bit ruder to say, but still okay.
Absolutely. And you could just call your group of friends. Hey, ladies, what do you want to do tonight? Even if your friends have very bad manners. It's
Yes.
a good term. It's a good alternate term for women or girls or something
Yes.
like that. And he was also saying that the ladies don't give him any peace. Now, often when we see peace, we're reading it in a newspaper and we're talking about not war, right? We want peace in Ukraine and not war in Ukraine. Well, of course, that is peace. We want the world and the countries and people in the world to live in peace. But also in your own life, in a perfectly safe country, you might want a little peace. That really just means quiet time when people leave you alone. When you get home in the afternoon or in the evening, you might turn your phone off, close the door, put on some music. Just give me 15 minutes of peace. I've had a really busy day. My boss was upset. I got a headache, that kind of thing. So we're not talking about wars and not fighting in wars. We're talking about quiet time when people leave you alone. The women just don't leave him alone. His phone's always ringing. They always want to get him out to go on a date. He just wants some peace, man. All right, back to the article. Last, it says, it was time for him to become white paper. Wow. Oh, I think this might be the end of the caller's life.
Yes.
Maybe back in the old days, they used cloth, like in a collar or a shirt, to also make paper in books. And that's why he's in the factory.
Okay, so this is now way different than what I thought would happen. I thought that he was going to find someone and get married.
No, it's too late.
Yeah, this part is starting to make us realize that maybe this caller was not the nicest person. Probably he was bragging to all those other girls in the beginning, and so nobody really liked him. And now he's going to get turned into paper. And so we read, that happened, meaning he got turned into paper.
Turned into paper.
That whole process of turning the collar and the other rags into paper, that happened. The collar became this page, and his story is printed on it.
Wow, that's the collar?
Yes.
In our magazines or in our books? Amazing. So there you go. The collar was actually turned into paper, and this paper, the one you're holding in your hand or the one in the book, is the paper from the collar that the story is printed on. When we print something, we basically put writing onto paper using a machine. You can print, of course, with a pen or pencil when you write very clearly and carefully, but here we're talking about when we use a big machine called a printing press, or a smaller machine attached to your computer called a printer, to write letters in a typewriter or computer style onto a page. That's what we will do to make magazines, newspapers, books, things like that. Anytime you're using a machine to put writing on paper in large amounts, then you are printing those things on that paper. So, the article continues, don't boast like the collar or you'll face the same end. Don't go around showing off and telling your friends how great you are, because if you do, you could become paper.
Yes. Maybe not really, but you might not have a good life if you're boasting to everybody.
True, that's true.
So we saw this last word, face, which is a verb, and here it says to face the same end. That means to meet or to run into or to have the same end. So you if you need to face something, you need to face your fears, you need to meet it, you need to run into it, you need to get past it. So we use this a lot of times to say that we are looking at that thing directly and we're going to go to that thing. In this case, we would face the same end, meaning we would face something not so great. But we can also use this to say face your fears or you need to face danger and have courage.
Face your problems, face your enemy, and don't run away or hide from them. This will happen. This will come along in your life. And in his case, he's facing a terrible fate, the fate of becoming paper. And no more love for him.
Well,
although he does have a lot of friends in the book.
True.
Who are in the same situation.
That's true. And everybody who reads it can kind of say hi to him.
There you go. And who knows, maybe in the future he'll get recycled again back as a caller. We can only hope. And we also hope you guys find love out there in the world. Face your problems as well. And please don't become paper. You're much too nice people to become paper. Take care, everyone. We'll see you back here soon. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
After some time, the caller found himself in a box at the paper factory. He was among other rags. They all had things to tell, but the caller had the most. He was a terrible boaster. He told everyone he had loves by the dozen. Also, ladies wouldn't give him a moment's peace. Last, it was time for him to become white paper. That happened. The caller became this page, and his story is printed on it. So, don't boast like the caller, or you'll face the same end.
Hello, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 factory 名词，工厂。My father works in a factory. 我父亲在一间工厂上班。下一个单字 among 介系词，在什么当中。Penny doesn't like being among her classmates. Penny 不喜欢和她的同学在一起。下一个单字 lady 名词，女士。There's a young lady here to see you. 这里有位年轻的女士要见你。最后一个单字 face 动词，面临，面对。Nina is facing the biggest challenge of her career. Nina 正面临着她职业生涯中最大的挑战。Challenge 指的就是挑战。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 by the dozen 大量的，很多的，这是一个副词片语。Dozen 指的是许多。我们来看看这个例句。The bakery sells bagels by the dozen every morning. 这家面包店每天早上都会卖许多贝果。下一个文法 not give somebody a moment's peace. 让某人不得安宁。A moment's peace 表示片刻的安宁。我们来看看这个例句。My manager never gives me a moment's peace. 我的经理总是让我闲不下来。最后一个文法 His story is printed. 他的故事被印出来。主词加 be 动词加过去分词是一个被动语态的用法。Print 是动词，表示印刷、印制。我们来看看这个例句。Ruby's photo was printed in the magazine. Ruby 的照片被印在一本杂志上。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，回去记得复习哦。我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Rainbow Grandpa, Mr.Huang, was born in Taishan County, Guangdong Province in 1924. He fought in the Second Sino-Japanese War and returned to Taiwan after being shot during combat. Afterward, about 30 years ago, Mr. Huang bought a house in Rainbow Village. In 2010, Mr. Huang learned that the village was going to be destroyed, which caused him to start painting the houses in the village. When talking about his artwork, Rainbow Grandpa said, "Everyone says that I have great handwriting and that I draw nice pictures. But my father was the true artist. When I was a child, my father would teach me how to write and draw on holidays." Smiling animals and famous local people often show up in Mr. Huang's paintings. Rainbow Grandpa's personality and paintings show visitors how important it is to keep childlike innocence.